Well, hello to everybody here. It's Teresa Sanderson. Oh my gosh, I'm very excited to bring you this episode today of the Nurse Entrepreneur Spotlight because we have with us today none other than my dear friend, Dr. Nena Hart, and who is now the president of the National Nurses in Business Association, president of the NNBA. Nena, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be back.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God. It's so funny. Greg, and he always says everything's going to look so different a year from now. And as I see, here I am interviewing you as the president of the NNBA, and I think, what has this last year been like for you? That's the question I want to start with is what's that been
Right.
like for you? And what kind of things have happened to you over the course of the last year to get you here?
Miracles upon miracles, first of all.
Uh,
The last year has been one of the heaviest growing seasons of my entire life.
wow.
Yeah, and I have learned so much, which I have a huge value for learning. It's like one of my number one things that I hold dear to me is lifelong learning. So I have a lot of value from that growth. But as we all know, growth is super painful at the time, not a pleasant experience.
Mhm.
And so getting to the point where I am today and looking back over the last year, I'm like, that was a painful growing period for me. There was a lot of stretching that happened in that, and there was a lot of learning. And so, it's been a like 10 years in the last year.
Oh my gosh. Well, I love the transparency here. And I just want to kind of, take people back a little bit in time here because for those of you who don't know Nena Hart, Nena, has been an entrepreneur in nursing, working in the field of healthcare consulting for the last several years. Life has definitely taken, as it does for many of us in the entrepreneurial space, a lot of twists and turns, involved a couple of moves to Hawaii and back to the US. And even for you and I both, I think it's something that probably we need to normalize more in the nurse entrepreneur space is that sometimes it is necessary to go back to traditional or conventional work for a period of time, kind of rest, not quit, and then come back. And the interesting thing is you kind of come back stronger, more
Oh my gosh.
fine-tuned, more focused, right? So
Yes,
tell us a
you're
little
on it.
bit about some of those kind of challenges, because I know before you stepped into this role, you had just recently let go of a full-time role in
Yeah.
long-term care.
Yeah. So for us, I had a good client base in Hawaii, and I love Hawaii. Hawaii is in my heart forever, but
Who
Hawaii
wouldn't?
is not kind to small businesses. They have all the taxes for self-employment we have here, and then they have a across the board 5% luxury tax for the cost of doing business in Hawaii. And there are no deductions for that. You can't deduct anything. There's nothing that
Wow.
comes off the top of that. So it's another flat 5% income tax. And when you make a lot of money, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So it got to the point where I felt like I was doing nothing but paying taxes and getting behind on my taxes. That's very scary as a small business
Yeah.
owner. And I know a lot of nurses have a lot of fears around accounting and bookkeeping and CPA and taxes and not knowing. And some of those are valid. But
Absolutely.
we decided we actually have had a couple pretty amazing things happen to us over the last year. And one of those things was the house that we lived in Tennessee, a 100-year-old farmhouse facing the mountains, the Cumberland Mountains. The owner of our house, we used to rent this house. We rented this house for 4 years when we lived in Tennessee. Before, when I was working in hospice actively, I was doing corporate hospice. And
Okay.
the owner is a wonderful friend of ours, and she said, I will never sell you this house, Nena. So I just want you to know that because this is where my kids grew up. I will not be selling you this house. I just have to,
Wow.
I feel like you need to understand that. And I'm like, okay, thank you. I understand. We'll stay here as long as we can. Who knows? We'll be moving, we're not
Yeah.
ready to buy a house anyway. Well, while we had been praying over and discussing moving back to Tennessee and whether the time was right, she
Hmm.
messaged me on Facebook and said, "You want to buy the farm in Oak Grove?" And I was like, "Yes, ma'am. Surely I do."
Oh
We
my
didn't, yeah,
gosh.
yeah. but we didn't
Wow.
even know how we would get the money to move back to Tennessee. We have
Yeah.
2 vehicles, we have 6 people,
Yeah.
we have all these things. And so that's a really expensive move. It's a minimum of
Yeah.
$20,000 to move. And we didn't
Yeah.
have $20,000 cash liquid,
Yeah.
And so I got a full-time job as a DON in Tennessee, and we felt like the timing was right. And we felt like with the house and just my
Hmm.
business and where things were at, we felt like it was the right thing to do. So we moved back last October. So we've been here a year,
Wow.
just over a year. We
Yep.
moved back last October. And so we were able to buy the house, and we had to have
Incredible.
$20,000 cash to do that, which
Yep.
not only did we not have the 20,000 cash to move, we also didn't have another 20. We didn't have 40,000, right?
Right.
So we didn't
Right.
have another 20,000 to give the down payment. On the day we needed the down payment, we had the 20,000. It was there in the bank to send to her. And instead of giving us the house and the acre that we agreed to, she gave us the house and all the land. So she gave us the house and 3.5 acres for the same price.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yep. Gave us the whole plot. So it was the biggest
Okay.
blessing. Yeah. Yeah. So miracles upon miracles upon miracles here. It sounds
Oh my
very
gosh.
light just to talk
Yeah.
about it, but didn't feel light at the time, right?
That's a
It felt
lot of
really
stress.
heavy. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But I have to just say, okay, because earlier I said things will look so much different a year from now. And this
Yeah.
a year,
Yeah.
last October, you moved back to Tennessee to take a full-time job
Yes.
as a DON in
Mhm.
long-term care. I know,
Yeah.
and you know how difficult that role is.
It was
And
brutal and it
so,
was embarrassing. I felt shame around that. Like, here I am, this
sure.
self-proclaimed self-employed nurse, and I've had to go back to work full time. And I knew it wasn't going to be long term. And I knew that
Yeah,
no DON job I've had, the longest DON job I've ever done is a year and a half, 2 years. I mean, it's brutal. They
it's hard.
completely use you up and spit you out. And that's pretty much
Yeah.
exactly what happened. But it met all the needs I had. It met the needs of us shipping all of our vehicles,
Yep.
getting a sign-on bonus, getting that facility ready for state. That's what I do. I mean, essentially, as a
Yeah.
consultant,
Yeah.
I literally help post-acute cares get ready for surveys and
Yeah.
recover from bad surveys. And this facility had a bad survey before I came. They had a G. And
Oh
so
man.
I
Yeah.
came, got them ready for their next survey, and it kind of served its purpose. And my business during that
Mhm.
time
Yep.
grew exponentially to
That
the point,
is
yeah, to the
that
point where when
is
I quit, I made the most money I had ever made before in a month. I mean,
yeah.
and I think last quarter was probably my best quarter ever. So yeah,
Incredible. Oh my
yeah,
gosh, this is
yeah.
so
I was
incredible. And
really close to 100K last quarter. So I'm
awesome. Awesome.
I'm experiencing, the fruits of that labor and feeling like, okay, we go through these time periods where we feel like we're failing, but failure is very you know, experiential, your perception of failure. And so it's
Mhm.
not always failure. It just feels like it at the time, right? And feelings aren't
Mhm.
always reality.
Mhm. I think that's so true. And I love the philosophy of sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. And
Yeah.
it's without, if we can take those experiences, one of my biggest, I'll stray here just a little bit, but one of my biggest failures that I considered a long time, my biggest failure was, when our hospice
Yeah.
sold for pennies on the dollar because I crashed and burned from major depression and all those things,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
happened at that time. Beyond the tears, though, after being able to really process and digest that, and it did take years, I was able to, grab the wisdom of the experience, and that's wisdom is being able to look at what happened without the emotion and just
Yes.
see it for
Yes.
what it was, right?
I'm reading this book. I'm finishing this book. I will finish this book. I've had this book. I've been reading this book for a long time and I'm almost done with it, but A Happy Pocket Full of Money. And he's talking about how detachment from the current reality of things helps us get what we want because we're no longer attached to the outcome. I'm not, and that's something I've really been practicing actively is I'm not attached. Here's what I want. Here's what I'm going for. And I'm not attached to the outcome because it doesn't affect me either way. It doesn't touch me. I don't win or lose based on this one outcome. Right.
Ah, I
So
love that.
it's
Yeah.
been a big mindset shift for me though, because
Yeah.
usually I'm so invested. If this doesn't work, if I could
Mhm.
only make this happen, if this one client comes on, everything will be okay. If this one payment comes through, everything will be okay. If this opportunity works, everything will be okay. And
Mhm.
that's dangerous to us.
It
It's
is.
it's dangerous to our worth and to our success. And
Mhm.
it's not true. It's not reality, right? If
Mhm.
this one
Mhm.
thing doesn't work, if the NNBA didn't come through, I would still be on my path to success in another direction.
That is so freaking powerful. I just love that. And it's true because I believe we serve at the highest level when we are acting like, and when we not acting like, but when we believe that the outcome doesn't matter. If
Yeah,
I just show up and serve, I get rewarded 1,000-fold, right?
right, right.
If I just show up and do the next right thing. And I think
Yes.
we struggle so much in saying, okay, I need a 20K month, or I need a 30K month, or I need this, or I need that. When I focus on me, nothing works.
Yeah.
I focus on
Yes.
serving people,
Yeah.
it's all good. And I get
Yeah.
goosebumps just saying that.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
love that. I believe in that very, very deeply. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
I love that. I love it. Okay, so here's all the massive changes that happened in 1 year for you to get you where you are today. You took the
Yes.
role of DON. You ultimately ended up growing your business by leaps and bounds at the same time, which is
Yes.
awesome. I mean, just providence, right? Just providence
Yeah.
written all over
100%.
that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it. And then on the, here you are, you're doing well in business and you have this other opportunity kind of land in your right at your feet of, hey, Nena, how'd you like to grab the NNBA?
Yeah, and that's
I
pretty
mean,
much how it happened. I was in Vegas helping a hospice client, and Michelle, the current president of the NNBA, asked me if I'd like to have dinner if I had anything I was doing in the evenings, and I was there to work. I was there to open a
yeah,
hospice and train all the leadership on a
yeah,
contract. And
yeah,
I said I would love to have dinner. So we
yeah.
met. Her retiring, the NNBA never came up during that whole dinner. She asked me what I wanted to do and what I was doing, what I wanted out of my business. And I
Mhm.
said, and of course, true to myself, Teresa, I can't be anybody else. I said, no clue. And so you can't mess this up, guys. You can't
Yeah,
say the wrong thing and ruin the opportunity. She asked me, what did I want? And I didn't say, to take over the NNBA someday and leave a legacy from what you
right.
started, right? Wouldn't that have been a nice answer? But I
Yeah.
said, no clue. I'm just figuring it out as I go. That is the real answer that I gave. I have no idea what I want. I said,
Wow.
I want to make a bigger impact and I don't know how that looks. I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to grow my reach and impact to nurses about what they can do with consulting. And I have no clue what that looks like. I know I can't do it by myself anymore. I know I'm trying to do it by myself. And I've reached a glass ceiling where I can see what's above me. I can see what's below me, but I can't go any farther with my own reach. That's how
Yeah.
I feel. That's what I explained to her. And
Yeah.
that's what got her wheels turning, that the bigger impact could be the NNBA. We never discussed it. I left, she left, we hugged. It was a wonderful dinner. And then that
Wow.
conversation came later about would you consider the NNBA as part of that? Well, I had always considered the NNBA as part of that. I've been a member for 5 years. I've been speaking. I've been supporting and promoting the NNBA. I deeply love the NNBA. Had my
Yeah.
sister with me for the last 3 years doing my
Yeah.
vendor table. And so, I've been growing with the NNBA. But to your point of just showing up and being in the room, on some other conversations we've talked
Hmm.
about this a lot, being in the room
Yeah.
where you want to be recognized.
Yeah.
And so I was in the right room and she saw the engagement. She saw that the NNBA mattered to me and that I was gonna be engaged and promoted and show up and not serve myself, but serve the NNBA. And so that's kind of where that conversation grew. And as to my habit, she said, Ari, is that something that would interest you? And I said, absolutely yes. And do you know my personal checking account was negative on that day? She said, would you be interested in acquiring the NNBA? And I said, 100% yes. Okay. 100% yes.
Love it.
Not a dime to my name. Couldn't have went and bought a fountain pop had I wanted one. Okay. It was a bad month that month. That's why I was
Mhm.
in Vegas doing this contract.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
things don't always look at the moment like they are a
Mhm.
yes, but I say yes to things that I feel aligned, whether I can leverage them or not at this point, because God has
Oh.
been doing all the heavy lifting for me for the last, well, probably 41 years, but most recently I had just seen all these things happen that I couldn't have done myself. I didn't do anything for, right? He's been doing all the heavy lifting. I'm like, yeah, I absolutely will do this. And I talked to Jed, and Jed was on board 100%. This is probably one of the only things in 20 years of marriage that we have both immediately knew was for us.
Wow.
Immediately. He knew immediately. He's like,
Uh-huh.
"Yes, this is what you were meant to do." And so
And
we
he
flew out. We flew out
I
to
have to
Vegas.
stop right there for just a second because Jed is just an amazing, amazing guy.
I'm so
Everything
blessed
I
with
know about him,
him.
he is so fun
Yeah,
and just so down to earth and such a great support. And you and I are both blessed in that way.
we are.
My
We
Greg
are.
over here, you got Jed over there.
Yes,
But yeah, we got to give a shout out to those guys for
that's right.
because I think
Exactly.
it takes a
So
special
important.
man who can support a woman stepping
Yeah.
out in front, really, on her own,
Yeah.
right? It takes a
Yeah.
special guy.
And anybody who knows my story know that I was like hiding my business, hiding starting my business from him for a solid year because I was like, he's going to say we can't pay the bills. He's going to say you're the breadwinner, you can't quit your DON job. He's going to say this. This is back in 2018, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I had wanted to do all these business ventures that I never started because of fear, and here he is just waiting for the opportunity to support me if I will let him,
yeah.
just waiting for the
Oh
opportunity to
man.
get behind me 100% on whatever I do, if I will bring him into it.
Oh, shoot. I love that story. And one thing I'll just say as a little side note to that is just like he was waiting to support you, I tell nurse entrepreneurs all the time, people are already waiting for your solution.
They
They are
are.
lined up and waiting for you to show up and serve. How long are you going to make them wait? And so it's just,
Right.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Yeah, if it's in your heart, it's already done. Just step
Yeah.
out and go.
Exactly. It's
Get
already
started.
done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
Oh my gosh. Incredible, incredible. So your conversations move forward with Michelle, and the deal is already done, correct? You are
Yeah.
now the
Oh,
president of the
yes. Yeah.
NMBA.
October
Great.
1st was the official takeover, Nena takeover date. So they have been so amazing and so supportive to and super committed to make sure that this was the right fit for the NNBA, the right fit for nurses. Their heart for nurse entrepreneurs is very, very genuine to
Love
serve
that.
and support nurses. And I really felt like this was aligned in more ways than just one. And so they have continued to support me to make this wasn't a drop dead date October 1st. I got to figure everything out. They are 100% behind me and supporting me and giving me feedback and ideas and strategy and logistics and making sure that everything transitioned over as smoothly as possible. And so my gratitude for that is immense because this would be really messy if not. This would have
Oh
been a
my
really messy
gosh.
experience.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, that just sounds amazing. But I wouldn't really expect anything less of Michelle Podlesny and
Yeah.
Lou. From everything
Yeah.
I know about that family, they're just wonderful people. And you know, God bless her for having
Yeah.
started, and really run the NNBA for all of these years because
And done a really great
yeah,
the growth that they experienced in 10 years year over year has just been exponential growth
yeah,
from doing the things and showing up for people and meeting the needs and serving and you
yeah,
know putting themselves out there, and that's really what it's about. That's really how you get that, is consistency. So
absolutely,
I've
absolutely.
learned a lot. I've learned a lot from them.
Well, I bet, and I
Yeah.
bet even from the entire experience of just, I mean, this is a big deal. This is like
This is a
a
big deal.
huge, acquiring an entire organization is a big, big deal. So that in
Yeah.
itself is a massive learning experience, growth experience.
Yes, I've never
Yeah,
done anything like it. I can tell you that.
yeah.
It's been a great experience. And I will say, I graduated from the Goldman Sachs 10K, 10,000 small businesses program in May. And this is
Mhm.
just another God thing he did for me, was allowing me to be in that program at the time I regretted, I had such deep regret from being in that program because I was working full time as a DON. And when we started that program, the commitment that I realized I had committed to while working full time as a DON, I was like, this is my nightmare. This is the worst thing I've ever done. Right. So
Yeah.
I regretted that deeply. It was like 20, 25 hours a week of work. Right.
Yeah.
And me just struggling to keep up and then flying out to New York at the end. And at the end of that program, I was so glad that I stuck with it and finished it and did it, because my growth opportunity for Goldman Sachs 10KSB, that's the whole program, is you focus on one
Mhm.
growth opportunity for your business, was
Right.
acquiring the NNBA,
Oh my God.
because I was already talking with Michelle when that 10KSB started. And
Wow.
so, you know, I just emailed my coach, 2 weeks ago and said, growth opportunity attained, Mauricio, and he's like, awesome, 10KSB success story. They're big about alumni. They're very supportive.
Ah,
They have a lot of resources. I do highly recommend the program, but at the time it was a huge
incredible.
commitment. Yeah. So I think just the timing of doing that program,
Mhm.
I had a banker. Mauricio is a banker
Yeah.
guiding me through this acquisition live in real time. Can you,
Oh
I
my
mean,
gosh. Yeah.
is there another way I could have had a business person
Right.
who has been in banking and investing
Right.
and acquisitions,
Right.
step by step, week by week, guiding me through what to look at, how to set this up, what to ask? I mean, can you even imagine having
Mhm.
that resource for free? You don't pay
Yeah.
anything for that. Program is free.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I think
just all the pieces.
just another God thing
Yeah,
that,
just all the
okay,
pieces
so
falling into place.
here's this thing you're going to do, and here's how you're going to get there.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let me just lay
Exactly.
it out for you, Nina. Here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. I mean, he knows I can't do it myself. He's like, she needs help. Um, if she'll say yes, I'll put it in front of her. If she'll say yes and do it, right? All I
Oh
had to do
man.
was say yes and show up.
Say yes.
That was my
Oh.
part.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to know anything. I didn't have to be the
Mm-hmm.
expert. I wasn't. I just had to show up and say
Yeah.
yes.
And sometimes that is the hardest thing, though, isn't it? Just the saying yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Just saying yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, way to
Yeah.
go, girl. So tell me, NNBA has been around a lot of years. I've been a
1985.
member. I've been a member for the last 5 years, I think,
Yeah.
along with
Yeah.
you. And
Yes.
I think that's how we connected, probably one of the first ways.
Yeah.
And certainly one of the first times we ever had lunch together, right?
Yes,
Was at
yes,
the
in person.
NNBA.
I think we were friends for probably 2 years though, because we did the
Yeah.
COVID the online 2020 and 2021
Right.
virtual
Yeah.
conference,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
then met in
Absolutely.
person in 2022 or
I
2023.
think so. Yeah,
2022.
probably
22.
22. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But wow.
It all
So
runs
tell
together.
me, what do you see? What's on the horizon for the NNBA? As you make this transition and get started, what are your goals and vision for
Yeah.
what you want to see in the future? Yeah.
Well, a lot of it is based on the mission of the NNBA and their history, but then also kind of um focusing on growing community between nurse entrepreneurs. I think we talk a lot about mindset, you and me, and there's this limiting belief that if I share something out loud with you, you're going to steal it from me. Or
Yeah.
there's this belief that if I say something out loud, I sound stupid. Or if I tell anyone about my business, then it's out, right? And what
Right.
happens, then it's real and I have to do it, right? So just
Yeah.
kind of breaking those walls down through community and networking. So I'm looking at different ways to foster a more, memberships are hard because people are busy, right? And
Yeah.
we undervalue the connecting. And then when we do it, we're like, wow, that's super impactful. Like, I don't know if you've ever been like, I cannot get on this call right now just for no reason. I cannot just get on here for 20 minutes and talk to someone. I have clients, I have work, I have stuff to
Yeah.
do. I could do laundry, right? There's a million things I could do instead of get on this call and talk about nothing for 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes that's really hard, but then we
Yeah.
do it and we're like, wow, that was so inspiring and empowering, and they're doing such amazing things. They have such great ideas, and how can I support that? And it kind of revives our spirit a little bit to be in those
Wow.
conversations. And so I want to foster more of that between the conference every year. And I want to
Love that.
foster more live events, so masterminds and retreats and
Mm.
things. I like to do those things. So I
Yeah.
want to look at how to schedule those in between the conference so we can have smaller groups getting together. So you're getting the
Mm.
inside scoop here.
Ooh, I
This is
love that. Yeah.
but also just really elevating.
Mhm.
I think that what I wrote down was like just amplifying nurse entrepreneurs, amplifying self-employed nurses, so that we're lifting up our members, we're promoting their business, we're partnering with them. You and Quisha did an amazing podcast on mental health and
Mhm.
entrepreneurship. I blasted that everywhere I could because I feel like it's such an important topic. I want to do things like
Yeah.
that for our members who are doing super valuable, impactful things to not just make money, they're impacting healthcare right now. They're
Right.
doing things that are going to improve healthcare for other people. And so I
Mhm.
really want to partner, do more partnerships. I'm going to bring back that associate partner membership. The NNBA is exclusive to nurses for membership, and
Mhm.
rightly so.
Yes.
But I also think there are lots of healthcare partners who want to be involved in support nurses. And so
Mhm.
it's a selection process, an application process of choosing people
Got
that
it.
really align with the
Mhm.
NNBA and are really out to support nurses and don't just want to sell to nurses, right?
Right.
So
Right.
I'm a pretty
Awesome.
transparent kind of lady here. So I'm
Yep.
like, here's what the right partner looks like and the right partner doesn't look like. So, just making sure that that's very clear. So those are some
Love
of the
that.
ways I would love to continue on with what Michelle has started. She's done a lot of the legwork for this in preparing the way, and so I'm really excited to continue that.
Wow. Well, that is so exciting because, the NNBA has been rocking and rolling for years. And in my opinion, I think it's the number one annual conference for nurse entrepreneurs.
For
I mean,
sure.
that's just me. This is where I go. I go to be fed, I go to learn, and I go to network and collaborate. And,
Yeah.
wonderful things happen in that space.
Yes.
So I'm excited. And, I just as we have journeyed, you and I, through the last several years together, it's been so interesting. I think each of us in our journey, what are we doing? What's going on? I went back to work one time, you went back to work one time.
Yeah.
It's just kind of you
Yeah.
do what you got to do, because I always say no money, no mission. And it's true.
Right.
It's true.
Yeah.
If there's no money to fund, what it is that I want to do, I mean, Greg's supportive, but he's not going to go that far. So, but yes, I think it's just been wonderful. And now, would I have thought a year ago that one of my dearest friends is going to sit next to me as the president of the NMBA? I never would have dreamed. And
You
so
and
all
me
I can
both.
say is, congratulations, man. I'm
Thank
so
you.
excited for you on this journey, and I just can't wait to work with you in this new capacity, and just support you all the way. This is so exciting.
Thank you so much. And it is really because of support from people like you and all I have so many amazing nurse entrepreneur connections, but the ones who really put the time in to support me, there's very few. And
Mm.
so there's a handful of people who, you and I both know there's a handful
Yeah.
of people who will give their time to you
Mhm.
so freely, and so
Yeah.
when you need it. And so I'm super grateful for that. And I do think that has just been a huge part of the reason why I've been able to do anything, why I've been able to say yes, because I feel like I have the support that I need. And I do think that's why the NNBA is so important to nurses, because unfortunately, there's a lot of amazing roles that our coworkers and families play in our lives. But what I've seen personally and what I've seen with other nurses is that supporting our business is often not one of those roles. They either don't understand it, or they're just not able to, right? Or it doesn't
Right.
apply to them. We can't ask
Right.
people to spend money at our business who don't have a need for our service, right? So it's like
Yep.
we're trying to reap from the wrong harvest here, right? Like, so
Yes.
it's like where we
Yes.
haven't planted, right? So
Mhm. Mhm.
I think having these close knit relationships that we've that we've sown at the NNBA conference and that we've sown in masterminds and groups is
Mhm.
so important. It cannot be undervalued, what it's
Mhm.
done for me. And so I really encourage other nurses to do that, to take the time
I,
to make that.
yeah, and I just so agree because I think one of the things that happens or that I've noticed about nurse entrepreneurship in general is that there is more collaboration than competition. And
Yeah.
that's, I'm all about
Yes.
nurses feeding their young. And so I just think when we can collaborate and lift each other up and create opportunities together where we're stronger, we serve more people, we serve them at a higher level. There's just so many great things that come from that. And that's one of the things that I think is very unique about nurse entrepreneurship is that it tends to be very hyper collaborative.
Yeah.
Whereas there's so much competition in most other types of nursing, this is just like a welcome oasis to step into and find so much support.
Exactly. And I think that just the amount of need there is, the demand in healthcare is practically limitless. So when I have nurses come to me and they're like, Nina, I would like to be a hospice compliance consultant like you are. I literally have multiple nurses come to me and say that. I don't say, oh, you know what? I am the only hospice compliance consultant, and so I can't be training other hospice compliance consultants. That's a very slack scarcity mindset. There are
Hmm.
so many hospices, and maybe they don't like something about me, or they like something about you, or they have a different need that I don't offer. I am very collaborative. I collaborate with other hospice compliance consultants. I'm actually working right now with one of my clients with two other hospice consultants that I reached out to because I'm maxed out. I don't want to do
Yes.
the work, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
do you want to help me on this project? Because I'm starting up the an NBA stuff right now. I'm in a transition period. I can't manage this client well. Can you help me? And if I was too scared to
Yeah.
involve other people in my business that they would steal it from me or learn my secrets. Now I don't give them my business strategy, but they're helping
Right.
me with clients. They're seeing into my business and my clients.
Yeah.
If I was too scared, I would be carrying that weight on myself and probably not serving my client very well. Probably not
Hmm.
doing a great job for my client who needed some extra help and I wasn't able to give it.
And certainly not being able to scale or grow
Yeah,
or advance,
exactly.
right? It's like
Yeah,
that small mindset keeps everything small. Yeah, you may not have any
exactly.
competition, but you're also not really
Yeah,
going to grow. There's something
yeah,
about,
exactly. You're
keeps you
exactly
small.
right.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh. So,
Yeah,
I know that I've had you on for a bit. I want to thank you for your time today, Nina. Thank you for
I
joining
loved it.
us.
Thank you.
What I'd like to do in the last couple of minutes here is just give you an opportunity to share with our listeners and viewers how can they connect with you? How can they become a member of the NNBA? All of
Yes,
that stuff.
I would love it if you would drop your affiliate link for the NNBA so they can sign up under you, if that'd
Well,
be all right.
my goodness. See, there's just another example.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Sign up under
yeah,
Teresa's link.
absolutely.
I don't know if you'll see this in November, but if you do, it's $20 off new members in November with code Thankful20. So we're offering that right now as an incentive, kind of to do a member open door, new president offer here, and just to express our gratitude for nurses and what they're doing, and it's very exciting. So I would love to connect with you. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. I'm everywhere. You can't get away from me. But yeah, we're working on speakers for the NNBA conference this year. I'm very excited. It's going to be a great conference, so we'd love to have you there. You can get on the newsletter through the affiliate link that Teresa's going to drop for us,
Yep.
and you can sign up to be a member as well. We definitely prioritize members as speakers. We want to give we want to elevate our members and amplify our members, give them opportunities to share. So that's
Yeah.
really my main focus right now. Pretty much everything I'm doing from the self-employed nurse. I'm doing a content authority challenge in November, and that's the end. The sun is setting on anything I do personally,
Wow.
and it's all an NBA from here on out. So,
Ah,
2025 is the year of the NNBA. So that'll be
woo!
my last personal challenge as a coach. So I would love to see anybody in there, but I'm really excited to be bringing masterminds, master classes, boot camps. I know everybody has asked for like a business startup Zoom, an in-depth startup. So I'm going to be looking at developing things like that, using our members as the experts to help run those things, and then really developing that community and providing more networking opportunities for nurses. So that's where I'm headed. That's it.
Wow. Well, this sounds so exciting. And, here we are, as you said, we're on the 1st of November here. So I am just, grateful for you as a dear friend, now stepping into the role of the NNBA. Grateful and so looking forward to all the good things that are coming.
Thank you. Me too. It's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yes, it is. All right, Nena, thank you so much for joining us today. And to all of our viewers, everybody out there, thank you for tuning into the Nurse Entrepreneur Spotlight. We will see you on the next episode. Bye for now.